Welcome to week 6 of the QUT Design Lab series of videos supporting our program based on Wendy Laura Belcher's second edition of Writing Your Journal article in 12 weeks. I acknowledge the Turrbal and Yagara peoples as the traditional custodians of the unceded lands in Mianjin where I'm recording this, and I recognise that these lands and waterways have always been places of teaching, learning, research, creativity, storytelling and arts. I'm your writing wellbeing coach, Dr. Abby Winter, and this week we're focusing on significance. But first, as always, a reflection. We're halfway! What are you proudest of? What are you struggling with? Last week, we talked about citations. This week, we'll be talking about your claims for significance. But I just wanted to share with you a blog post from Pat Thompson's Patter, where she writes about revising your citations to make your writing more authoritative. It's from 2021. It's called Making Your Writing Authoritative, a Citation Revision Strategy. In Chapter 6, Wendy Belcher talks about your argument being your position in the scholarly conversation, and your claims for significance is your so what. They're the reason your position matters. So she lists 10 possible claims for significance. They are subject-based claims for significance on page 193. Audience-based claims for significance on pages 193 to 194, literature-based claims for significance on page 194, practice-based claims for significance on page 194, method-based claims for significance on page 194, findings-based claims for significance on pages 194 to 195, discipline or field-based claims for significance on page 195, theory-based claims for significance on page 195, implications-based claims for significance on page 195, recommendations-based claims for significance on page 195. The next thing Belcher talks about is an exercise that lets us get a little bit playful and that also activates that clever back of your brain to get to work. It's called the So What exercise, which Belcher outlines on pages 211 to 212. Basically, as the author, you tell a friend or group of friends in a single sentence what your article is about. Someone else then has to ask, so what? In a genuinely curious way. It's not an aggressive or nasty question. It's here to help. The author then has to answer the so what. And then someone else has to ask a curious so what that gets answered by the author. And keep repeating that until so what has been asked at least 6 times. The point of this exercise is to see how your claims could change or expand. The other thing to think about is whether different people reading your piece might find different claims for significance relevant. On page 212, Belcher has a table where the first column is the reasons that would motivate scholars to read your piece, and the second is which audiences would be interested in that claim. But you don't have to use her format. Do whatever works for you. Finally, I'm going to shift up the format a little bit here and ask you to do a quick reflection here at the end as well. Are you finding that atomized nature of this 12-week process is working okay for you? If not, this might be a good time to do a full read of your piece in progress and see what leaps out as needing to be done. Belcher has another table on page 213, which is a check of the current status of your article. Take a moment to fill that in over the next few days. As always, this is the point where I ask you to open up your calendar and plan your writing time for the coming week. While you do that, I'll tell you more about the rest of your homework this week. Read pages 219 to 221, and then do the tasks of highlighting your evidence with different colors. Up to you if you work electronically or in hard copy. Think about the quality of your evidence and whether you need to collect more. The last thing I need you to do, please, if you're doing this through the QUT Design Lab, is to spend about 10 minutes putting together a 7-slide PowerPoint presentation overview of your article. It needs to be in a minimum font size of 28, and ideally using images rather than words wherever you can. You need slides for title, research context, which is the literature review, argument, claims for significance, research, design or method, evidence and findings, and conclusion. And of course, you'll get this in an email. Oh, And don't forget to also track your writing time. See you next week.